Oh, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much, Jackie, and to the FHT local group for inviting me to speak here this evening. I'm going to try to actually do a screen share presentation. So I'm going to hopefully bring that up now for you so that everyone can see that. And yeah, we'll just work through it. There will be an opportunity for questions partway through and then towards the end as well. Okay, so yeah, good evening. Welcome. I am Rachel from Carmen City, my own company. And yeah, it's great to be here and talking to you about all things crystal this evening. So, we were starting off a little bit of welcome introduction, a little bit about myself, what crystals are, where they come from, how crystals actually work with us to promote our own self-healing, how you can use crystals in your everyday life to support you, and also how an individual crystal healing session can help you as well. So a little bit about me. Rachel from Carmen City, my own business I established approximately 5 years ago now, as well as being a qualified crystal healing practitioner. And I also was not qualified in energy healing per se. It is energy that I work with. So I incorporate the two of crystal healing and energy healing. I'm also a yoga teacher here in Norwich, a massage therapist, reflexologist, Indian head massage therapist. Also do aromatherapy as well. And very recently, December last year, qualified as a sound healing practitioner as well. So quite a few areas of interest for me. With regards to crystal healing, I first came across crystals through an ex-boyfriend some 20 plus years ago now. His father was a crystal healing therapist, as well as lots of other different healing modalities he was interested in and worked with. I had my very first crystal healing session with him and had quite a profound experience whereby I felt as though I had, after the session, healed quite a lot of historical trauma. So it got me really interested, really fascinated. And I then started to work with him kind of as a unofficial apprentice, I suppose, with him, getting to know, just everything crystal related and working with energy. And I knew that at some point in my life that I would then work with energy and crystals as a healing modality. And I was really fortunate that then in, it was at the time, 2009, I actually started my training with a local teacher, Esther Katz, here in Norwich, which is a 2-year diploma qualification, qualified October 2011. And yeah, I've been working with crystals energy for 20 plus years, all in all, and in a professional capacity now for, since 2011. So what are crystals? Where do they come from? So this is a little bit, I did geography A-level as well, which I think there's quite an interest there, because at the end of the day, crystals do come from the earth. So they are, in their basic form, composed of minute atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, and are basic units of energy or vibration. They're formed in various ways. So one way is through the solidification of molten lava or magma. And something like, I've got quite a large clear quartz piece here. So this is an example clear quartz of the solidification of molten lava and magma into the formation of a crystal. So something like a quartz crystal, the molten lava magma is forced up through the earth, and as it rises towards the surface of the earth, it cools and then gets amazing things. Other crystals such as pyrite, got a little bit of pyrite there, cube of pyrite. They form from vapors in vents in volcanic regions of the Earth. And other types of crystals form from water solutions or grow with the help of organisms on or near the Earth's surface. And are formed by a process of either mechanical or chemical weathering. So something, I haven't got a piece with me immediately to hand, but something like jet, Whitby jet, is a form of weathering whereby it's actually compressed in the layers of the earth in a sedimentary way. And then you can actually find things like that on the coast. I found Whitby is kind of my sort of spiritual home. Spent many a year there as a child and found pieces of Whitby jet, which are very hard to come across now, and also Robin Hood's Bay as well, fossils. So other ways that crystals and minerals are formed is by actual recrystallization of existing crystals and minerals. So I've got a piece of garnet here. That is an example of a recrystallized mineral whereby minerals are put under pressure, really high pressure and high temperatures in the lower regions of the earth, and undergo like a metamorphosis, whereby the structural and chemical changes of the crystal occur to then form a brand new one, such as garnet. All right, so how can we use crystals, or how do crystals work with us to like promote our own self-healing? So crystals can receive, amplify, convert and focus energy and actually store electrical charges. So if an electrical current is actually passed through crystal, it vibrates, and that is scientifically proven, because we use crystals in things such as watches and mobile phones, LCD TV, so liquid crystal display TVs, and also lasers as well. Use quartz crystal to convert electrical current into light and then focus it as a beam of great intensity. So in the very basic form, crystals are a form of energy, as are we as humans. And again, that's been proven that we and everything is made up of energy. And crystals and ourselves have a subtle but measurable electromagnetic field. And making assumptions, but possibly most of you are aware that our body's energy field is known as the aura or auric field or energy field. And we also have main energy centers in the body known as chakras. And the theory with crystal healing is that energy can be transferred from the crystals to us, to our bodies, and into our energy fields. So in effect, kind of communicating with one another. And so it makes sense then that the two energies actually resonate and work together. Every crystal has its own unique electromagnetic charge, and the energies or vibrations are believed to interact with our body and our energy centers to remove and restore a healthy flow through our bodies and minds. Each crystal is also thought to have its own specific therapeutic healing properties and qualities as well, which can further enhance the healing process. They can also be used to work on very specific conditions or issues, or yeah. Okay. So how can you use crystals in your everyday life to support you? These are just a few ways of using them. Wearing jewellery with crystals in. So I've just changed my screen, so let me just change this back so hopefully you can see. So I am wearing a pendant made by another local therapist, Kerry, which is bronzite, and she actually then kind of crochets these with a waxed thread. So this is a bronzite pendant, which I quite often wear. I've got quite a few other different pendants as well. So wearing jewellery in pendants, earrings, ring. I've got quite a nice amethyst ring as well that I wear quite often. And I've also got a, don't know if you can see that quite as well, a rose quartz ring as well. So wearing in jewellery, amazing, looks amazing, but also having the close contact with the body and the skin, you're transferring those energies directly through into your energy field and into your body. Another way, you can place a small, I'm just trying to think, I haven't got a necessarily small tumbled piece, but I've got a little sphere of rose quartz, which actually if I popped into my bra would probably protrude and look quite interesting. But you can place like smaller pieces of crystals into your bra if you're a woman and wear one. You can also put them into your pockets, say trouser pockets, jeans pockets, things like that. Or some people use like a little pouch, like a little velvet pouch, and pop various crystals in, either have them in their pockets or in their handbag. So you can kind of like touch them and hold them and take them out whenever you want. You can have crystals in the home, which possibly quite a few of you may already do. I won't take you on a tour of my home, but I've got a really nice amethyst geode over here, which I was gifted a few years ago by my partner. I've got a lovely slice on my altar in my dining room as well, and tons of other pieces around as well. So you can have them in your home, on various surfaces, on altars. I've also got by my front door a piece of black tourmaline, which is believed to help to deflect negative energies actually even entering your home. So you can use them in that way in your home. You can use them in grids around the home as well as a protective space for your home. As well as actually using them in grids around the body as well, placing something like a selection of different points, crystal points at different ways around the body. Sitting in a meditation, you can place a couple kind of in a triangle at the shoulders and then one pointing into you. My favourite way of actually using crystals at home is because I also teach yoga, and I also teach a form of yoga called Yoga Nidra, which is a conscious guided relaxation practice. Generally practice laying down on your back. You can then hold crystals in the hands. You can place crystals at various parts of the body whilst you're then also receiving your Yoga Nidra. So that's one of my most favourite things to do. And pretty much every single day I do a practice of Yoga Nidra. I have two crystals here called Boji stones, which are used very much for grounding, so anchoring ourselves back into this realm, into this earth, quite literally. Because I work with energy on a daily basis, it's important that you keep yourself protected from outside influences and kind of unwanted energies, because energies can influence you. So you do have to be quite careful with that if you're working with them on a regular basis. And another way you can use crystals to support yourselves is in crystal elixirs. So this is using crystals to, if I say, it's quite a large piece, but take this quartz piece again. You might like to place that, say, in a jug of water and place it on your windowsill. And if there happens to be some sunlight around, the sunlight can be absorbed into the water and into the crystal, and the crystal will then infuse its energies and the sunlight into the water, and you can then take the water like as a elixir. Just taking it as a drink. I use my water bottle quite often for that, and we'll top that up with charged water, and quite often do that with moonlight as well. Full moon, you'll generally see my patio completely ram-jammed with all of my crystals and a jug of water with crystals in it as well, to get really nicely charged up by the full moon energies. So you can help yourself by using crystals in many different ways. You can also help yourself by coming to see a professional qualified therapist, such as myself, who can work with you on a one-on-one basis as well. So benefits of working individually on a one-on-one basis with a therapist is that they're qualified and hopefully know what they're talking about. They're insured as well, so if touch wood, anything goes amiss at all, there you have a course of remit. But that's not something, thank goodness, I've ever experienced. But working with a therapist on an individual basis can help to restore the balance and flow of energy in your mind and your body. It can help you to release energy blockages or imbalances in the physical body or mind, or even the mental and emotional bodies as well. It can help to cleanse the auric field and balance your energy centers, your chakras. It can help to connect you to that higher consciousness, if that is something that you believe in, be it God or a universal life force or a universal consciousness or energy, if you believe in anything like that. Individual sessions can help to promote an overall feeling of well-being and positivity within you. It can be incredibly relaxing as well, taking an hour out and laying down, basically. Can be really nice and relaxing, which can then in turn stimulate your body's own inbuilt healing systems. And as I do every day, it can really help you to stay grounded, centered and balanced, and not too kind of up in the head and kind of out there. There's sometimes it can just help us to stay a little more like on the earth, grounded. Yeah. So that's how individual sessions can potentially help you. What actually happens in an individual session is that, and I can only talk for myself, obviously everybody works in different ways. This is how I work. So I choose crystals specifically for the individual person that I'm working with. I ask you to complete a consultation form beforehand, get some health history. But it also helps me to know if there are any specific issues that people would like to work on. So if needs be, I can do some further research if needs to be, so that I can help with any specifics. And I work very intuitively usually. So if I get your consultation form back, we'll have a look through that. If there's something specific to work on, we can work on that. But what I generally do is choose crystals on a very intuitive basis. I have quite a lot of crystals, to say the least, that I look through, and I just get a sense, I just get a knowing of what's the most appropriate thing to use for people. So I choose them for each of the 7 or 8 major chakras in the body. So generally recognize that we have 7 major chakras, but we also have which has been coming in over the last few years, the navel chakra as well. So just below the belly button, the solar plexus, navel area. There are also some higher chakras as well above the head and also below the feet as well. So depending kind of what I feel or what I sense, I will also choose crystals for those higher and lower chakras as well. And yes, as I say, it's very intuitive, and it's kind of not often that's off, in all fairness. So it's something that I continually work and strive for, is developing my intuition. We settle you if we were doing an in-person session, and it's pretty much the same actually for distant sessions as well. We settle you into your space, be that in person or distantly. Work with the breath a little, so a little bit of just getting awareness with your breath, connecting with your breath and coming into your space, and doing some grounding to just anchor you into the space that you are in. Make sure that you're fully grounded and present and aware. I will then place the chosen crystals on the different chakras, if in person. If not in person, I set up my therapy couch as if you are going to be here in person and you're basically like a body on my couch, okay? And I place the crystals on your imaginary chakras on the couch, and also crystals around the body as well, if I've chosen those to do so. And usually placing crystals around the body but on the floor in a grid formation, which usually forms a protective space around you so that you're held in a safe and protective way with those crystals. I do some tuning into you. So if you're in person, I will, with your consent, lay a hand usually at the elbow, possibly one at the shoulder, just so I can establish an energetic connection with you. If we're working distantly, we have you on screen, much like we are here tonight. Have a focus with you on the screen and connecting energetically with you that way. I will then use my pendulum to what we call douse through your chakras and energy field. So some of you may be familiar with using pendulums or dowsing. That gives me a really good idea of whether chakras are in balance or not, if there's any work that needs doing there, if there's energy that needs bringing out of a particular area or energy needs putting in. I also then douse in the energy field around you with the pendulum as well, to get a gauge of the energies in your aura and your auric field. That can give me a good idea if there's any particular areas that we need to work on. Will then channel. So my connection is with what I believe to be universal energy. So something that is greater than what we are. I don't ascribe any religion or spirituality to that. I just believe it as a greater universal energy or consciousness. That's what I connect into and actually direct through from this greater source through me into you and through the crystals and your energy centers and in your auric field. Then there's kind of like a set pattern to how I work. So working through the chakras with the pendulum, dowsing in the energy field, picking up on anything that's happening there. Use my hands quite a bit to actually send energy into the chakras, into the energy centers, and also sometimes to draw out. When I'm doing a session, and you can see me here, I'm quite, using my hands quite a lot. When I do sessions, that is what I do quite a lot, is actually draw energy out. I use my hands quite a lot to move energy out of your energetic field, your auric field, if that isn't felt that that is what is needed. I will use my hands then to direct energy into the chakras. I might use something like this rose quartz wand and it's got a point on the end to actually specifically direct and channel energy into the energy centers. I might wind energy in a clockwise direction to send energy in, or I might use it anti-clockwise to draw energy out if that is felt that that's what's needed. It can be quite a challenging thing to try to kind of explain how I work intuitively, because that's what it is. I'm just guided by something else as to how to work with each individual person. So it is a very personal, a very bespoke way of working with you. And then to close the session, I do a guided meditation with you, working through all your chakras and to what we call like close them down so that they're not left just open and vulnerable. Then when you've finished your session, if you're going out into the wider world and going about your everyday business, you're then nicely closed and protected so that energy from various quarters isn't just coming in and kind of undoing all the good work that we've done together in your session. Yeah, and so that's pretty much it with what happens in an individual session. And yeah, working distantly, it's basically the same thing as if I was working in person with you. As I say, set up my couch here, set up the crystals on the couch, as if your body is there laying on it, and working exactly the same way. And I often find actually that working distantly is, for myself anyway, is much more powerful. And I think over the last few months, I've recognized that is, I think, because I'm even more in kind of like what I call like my own space and my own place. I think I'm still not 100% sure about that, but that's kind of what I think that yeah, I don't know, just seem even more attuned for some reason. So yes, sessions can be done very, very effectively, actually, over this medium of Zoom, which is incredible. I'm currently working with a woman in the Netherlands who she every time we work together, she just knows and has a real sense of exactly which chakra we're working on and whereabouts in her energy field I am working on with her. I think it possibly helps with her, this particular woman, that she's highly sensitive and very energetically aware as well. So yeah, it can work equally, if not better, over the internet, which is or the Ethernet, as I'm liking to call it nowadays. Yeah, I find it yeah, pretty effective. Okay, so there we go. Whistle stops talk. What crystals are, what crystal healing is, how they can support you. So I guess, yeah, the floor is open, Jackie, for any questions. What I will do, I'll stop sharing the screen now, so hopefully I can see much more of everyone's lovely faces. Thank you. So yeah, if anyone's got questions, either raise your hand by waving, or if you're familiar with the function of in the participants bit and raising your hand, and we'll hopefully make sure we get around to it. So let me just check. Tunde, you were waving, weren't you?
Yep.
Sorry, just try. We've got we've got a couple of screens, so I'm just trying to actually get you on my screen here, Tunde. Bear with me. I think you're on the previous one. Hello. Yes. So Tunde,
Hi.
hello, darling.
Hi. You're here because of me, and I'm so happy that you just.
Oh, thanks. So I've got you to blame for this, have I? Thank you.
You're here because of this amethyst. So
Oh,
we went away on a breathing space. So obviously you live in Norfolk, so you do know breathing space, and I
I
had a
do.
real sense of feeling the amethyst. Oh, you move screens now, and I picked this one up, and obviously it was lovely, and the weekend was lovely and everything, and I really started to connect with the crystal, and
Uh-huh.
said that I will have something big coming towards me with the crystals, and that really stayed with me.
Mm-hmm.
We came away from the breathing space retreat, and a week later on I had a car accident. So basically, another thing what she said to me, or she was saying different things to different people, but to me, that I will have my fairies with me from now on, or something like that. So basically, I did feel that something was really with me in that car accident, and it was quite a bad one. And I walked away with a whiplash. The car was written off. And from that point onwards, I started to look into the crystals, and I bought jewelry. And funny enough, today arrived something what I ordered over the weekend. So it arrived today, and I forgot that this was on today because I have so much going on. So this it's called Aqua Aura crystal, and it's for the throat. I never heard of this one, but I obviously ordered the books as well a while ago, so I did really start to look into it. And when I go to work, at work there are quite a lot of bad energies going around.
Sure.
And I have 2 crystals in my bra, as you said, and I do feel that they are really working because I'm more balanced. So thank you for this lovely presentation.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
I would really love to book in for a session with you next month.
Fabulous. Oh, that would be amazing, Tunde, to work with you. Absolutely. And it's really, and this is what's lovely, is like, I can sit here and say, crystals are amazing. Well, they are. But, I can say, all these things about them, but it is actually people's experiences, your lived experiences that actually, confirm for me, the amazing powers that they have, because they're incredibly powerful and should be very well respected as well. So never underestimate the power of crystals, because that they are they do have just these amazing vibrations, these amazing energies. So being very mindful when you do use them, which it sounds as though you are, Tunde. And it's great that you have that, you're having these experiences. It's amazing.
So basically, I wanted to give a very special gift to all my clients for Christmas present. And I bought them a little green jade.
Yeah.
Some of them, they were really little. And one of my clients, who is my friend as well, she did send me a link the other day when they were talking about it on ITV. What is the program called?
Oh yes, it was this morning. I think I still haven't actually. Was it this morning? Yeah, I haven't
That's when
seen
I
it.
posted, and then obviously Jackie invited you.
Brilliant. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me, Tunde, and thank you very much for putting that out there in the group. It's really appreciated.
Thank you.
So thank you. Okay, so I'm going to try and work through. I know a few people have popped things into the chat box. What I'll try and do first is work through people that have raised hands on screen first, if that's okay. And then we'll come to the chat box if that's all right. Okay. So Sharon, you've got your hand raised. Hi, love. Would you like to unmute yourself?
Hi, yeah, I've also
Hello,
been really
love.
cheeky. Hello, nice to meet you.
You too. Welcome.
Hello. I use crystals intuitively as well. I'm a Reiki practitioner level 2. I'm
Brilliant.
starting on animal Reiki very shortly.
Brilliant.
But an awful lot of crystals, pendulums. I've got 3 sat beside me at the moment, but I want to know, how do you choose which crystals you're going to use on an individual? Because I would do it using a pendulum to see which ones they would like. So I want to know what you do.
Yeah, so I quite literally work very intuitively. I have behind me here, this is, so just as an instance, this is one of my many sort of boxes, okay, that I've got, of crystals. And I will lay them out, usually if I'm working from home, usually here in this space. I would lay them out and just sit with them and sit with the person. So if they sent their consultation form back, I'll read through the consultation form, try and get a sense of them as a person from what they're giving me through the consultation. And then, just sit, look through the crystals, and I'm just drawn. That's, there's no science behind it at all. There really isn't. I just feel very drawn to certain things, and I'm like, yeah, I'll choose that. Yeah, I'll choose that. Yeah, that. If I am doubtful, if I'm not sure, or if I do want to just double check, then I'll use my pendulum, probably in the same way that you do, or a similar way. Just to check over, I'll ask the question, is this the most appropriate crystal to use for X person on X chakra or X area? Yeah?
So that's fine.
It's nothing more complicated than that, Sharon. Really isn't.
It's all very intuitive, isn't it? That's the nice thing about it.
Yeah, yes. And that's I think where I find it sometimes quite challenging to kind of describe a lot of the time and kind of put the science to it. I mean, there is that science thereof that, crystals are these forms of energy, were forms of energy. It makes sense that we resonate and that crystals can amplify, our energy as well. That science bit makes sense, but then kind of how I work, it's not that it doesn't make sense, but as in trying to kind of explain it, it's just intuitive. I just kind of know.
It is, yeah.
I'm a very intuitive person.
I find that as well, that maybe a certain crystals for a certain meant to be chakra, but I found that sometimes that's not the right crystal for that chakra. And
Absolutely.
It's quite interesting to find that as well. Yeah. It could be just you pick something for one, it's not another. P.S. How do I book in to have a session with you? I'd love to have a session with you. I think that'd be interesting.
Oh, amazing. So I am hoping, as we are recording the session, and I'm not sure, Jackie, do you know if when we record a session and do a presentation, it records the slides as well?
Yeah,
it does.
Everything will come out, and also I've got all your contacts within the original event.
Yeah.
All your details, and when I post the recording, I will also copy out all your contact details.
Brilliant. Oh, that's amazing, Jackie. So
lovely. Thank you.
Hopefully from the recording, all the slides will be in there and all my contact details are on the very end slide. And as Jackie said, then she'll pop all the details into the message that comes out with the recording link as well. Thanks, Jackie.
Super. Thank
Brilliant.
you, Rachel. I've really enjoyed that. And
you're most welcome. It's lovely to meet you. Look forward to working with you. Thank you. Thanks for your question, Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, Marie. Hello, Marie. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Lovely
to see you. Thanks so much for joining
Short
us.
hair last time I saw you. That's how long it's been.
I know. It was like up here, I think, probably. And I had a fringe as well.
I'm a complete and utter novice, but I've always been absolutely drawn and fascinated by crystals. And ever since I did your yoga classes, I must have a session. My question is quite an unusual one, I suppose, in that I've got lots of different books that I sort of dabble with. I've got 2 sitting here now that I'll sort of flick through and read through and have crystals around my house. But I've got a friend that is in the same kind of space of just dabbling into crystals and the healing energies of them, but more so for her son.
Yeah.
Her son is only 4. He's nearly 5. He is at the point where he is potentially getting diagnosed with something on the spectrum.
Sure.
And she's sort of, we've just been chatting basically because he's expressed a massive interest in crystals. Firstly, you know, he's got a few that he's sort of shared because I work with the family.
Sure.
Would he naturally be drawn to certain crystals if there was a need sort of within his system? You know, like you can kind of be drawn to certain food things if you've got a deficiency. Would that also happen with crystals?
I believe so, definitely. Yes, I think you are, say if you go in, you know, when shops are open again, if you happen to go into a local crystal shop and there's something in particular maybe that you're thinking that you might like some assistance with, you can have that kind of like in your mind already, and you may just be looking like I do with all my crystals for a healing session and just naturally gravitate towards what it is that you need. So I firmly believe that, absolutely, that, you know, you will gravitate to what you need. I mean, I say often, always, you know, I'm doing something and I'll either, you know, see somebody else's post about something on social media about something, or I'll see something, just links, you know, and there's all these synchronicities, I think, as well as to how you arrive at getting to something. So
Are there particular crystals that you would recommend? You know, I mean, obviously they're all amazing and got their different properties, but in terms of a child that is potentially on the spectrum, his behaviour is incredibly erratic. I work with him in the school that I work in, but I also work with a family on a one-to-one as well. So I see him in 2 very different lights. But the parents are really, really struggling. Dad's not in the spiritual realm at all.
Of course not.
Mum is into cards and crystals, and so she's kind of going down this avenue of trying to support him, and he's expressed an interest in crystals. Is there anything particular that, you know, you would recommend as some kind of settling, grounding crystal that as a sort of starting point?
Yeah, so things such, I mean, it is, I do try not to make kind of generalized recommendations, because it is such a personal thing as to what, you know, what people's circumstances are. But things such as the pyrite that I showed earlier. Also hematite. So it tends to be, and you'll kind of notice it is the actual heavier, as in weight, crystals that you will find are the more grounding ones as well. So things such as pyrite, hematite, the garnet, which I showed earlier, and generally these darker ones and they generally also relate to the lower chakras as well, your base chakra generally. So maybe something like that as a starting point, and anything that is, you know, that he is drawn to. It's not going, you know, I mean, there are certain ones I would be wary of. So with anybody, possibly not obsidian, because that can be incredibly powerful, and it can also kind of draw out the shadow elements in somebody. So and I mean, that's not a bad thing, but you've got to have the tools and the capacity to be able to actually manage and deal with that. So I would maybe avoid something like that. But maybe those as a starting point. Amethyst, you can't generally go too far wrong with amethyst, just as a kind of a general all-rounder. So if he hasn't got something like that, he might like to choose something like that.
He's just expressing a massive interest, and
it's amazing. Let him go for it.
Yeah,
you know, let him explore.
Children
are so receptive. and they don't have any of these like sort of preconditioned ideas about what crystals are, how they might work or not work. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you're most welcome. It's lovely to see you and have you here. Thank you. All right, thank you, Marie. So I know we've still got some questions in the chat box. I'm just going to just try and just for my mind, try and work through people that have raised their hands, and then we'll get to the chat box. Okay. So Rachel Ray, hi Rachel.
Hi, hello.
Hello, love. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Very interesting talk. Thank you.
Welcome.
A couple of things I was wondering. Can you have too many crystals?
No.
So there.
Mind you, saying that I do have a friend. I do have a friend in Newcastle, and she could actually open her own crystal warehouse just from her house. No, I don't.
I wondered if there was like sort of energies fighting almost. If there's so much.
No, I don't think so. It's something in all the years that I've worked with them. I've got quite a lot, but not not half as many as a lot of people. But I don't think it's not something I've ever kind of picked up on at all ever. No, so no, definitely not.
The other thing I was wondering as well: do crystals lose their energy? Do they need to be recharged in any way?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, things such as amethyst, people do say that, you don't really need to, and citrine as well, are like self-cleansing. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that myself, but that's me. I do cleanse crystals very regularly. So hopefully, I know Marianne, maybe that's come up in might answer your question in the chat box. So I cleanse crystals every time I've used them with a person, because they can absorb that person's energies. So as standard, they're cleansed after every use with a person. My own, like using my own, it's again a very personal thing, a very intuitive thing. There's no kind of right or wrong with that. It's how you feel. They may need something doing, but it's not going to harm to do them on a regular basis.
What do you mean by cleanse? How do you go about?
So depends. After I use possibly quite an unconventional way of cleansing crystals after using them in sessions with people, I actually put them into a bowl layered with brown rice. So I'll put a layer of brown rice in the bottom of a bowl, then stack the crystals, and then layer it up and stack and layer, and leave for 24 hours, and then dispose of the rice. Don't use it for eating afterwards, just dispose of it. Some people, sometimes I'll just run, depending what type of crystals they are, I'll run them under just running tap water. You do have to be mindful of the softer crystals such as selenite, not to necessarily do that for too long or too often. And I also have an intention, if I'm doing it in water, be it under a running tap or a stream or the sea or something like that, I usually have an intention that I either say out loud or in my mind, I cleanse these crystals of all negative energy and recharge them with good positive energy. So that's one way you can do it. You can smudge with, I don't like using sage. I prefer to use homegrown indigenous herbs such as rosemary and lavender rather than sage from America. You can smudge, so holding your crystal in your hand, lighting whatever your smudge, or incense as well. You can pass through incense. So you can either have an incense stick burning, pass your crystal through it and have the intention that you're cleansing it, or hold your crystals and smudge around it in kind of whatever fashion feels right for you to do. So there's lots of different ways you can do that.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting.
You're most welcome. Thanks very much for your question. Thank you. Georgina, hello. Hello, love. Do you want to unmute? Do you want to unmute yourself, my love? Yeah, if you go down to the, it depends what device you're using. If you go down to the bottom, there's a little like toolbar at the bottom with a microphone sign, hopefully. Or I don't know, can I ask you to unmute maybe? Or can Jackie do that? Okay. Have you got the toolbar at the bottom, Georgina, with a little microphone sign? You just need to, there you go.
Yeah, it's my first time ever I used this kind of interaction or Zoom, whatever you call it. So
Well bloody done.
I pressed so many buttons here and the hand came out because I wanted to say I can't hear you, but never mind. I've got a question.
What's your question, Georgina, love?
My question is, how do you feel the energy of the crystal?
So I feel energy in different ways. I feel it sometimes as a tingling in my hands or a pulsing. Sometimes I feel
Coming from the crystal, the pulsing.
yeah. So if I'm working with my hand over the crystals that I've placed on the energy centers. So I'll hold my hand, say, over my heart center here. And yeah, I might feel some form of heat there. So in my hand, I'll feel heat. I might feel like a tingling sensation. Yeah, I might feel like a pulsing sensation. So yeah, I feel it in different ways.
Right, and all this comes from the crystal.
Well, I think it's a combination of the crystals and also connecting into what I believe is this universal energy source up here, out there in the greater cosmos, whatever that is. So it's a combination of both. So I don't necessarily have to use crystals to feel energy. So I can sit and sense. So if I'm, say, in meditation and with my hands open and receptive, I can feel energy in my hands. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I hold my crystals, which I really love, and after a while, I can feel the what is called the pulsation.
Yeah.
I thought, is it my veins? Is it my blood veins? I go.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that I thought. Then on the other hand, think right, it's might be my imagination. So I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit confused what's going on, but now
Okay.
you told me it feels like coming from the crystal.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't say 100% because I don't experience what you experience, but it kind of sounds as though it may be.
Yeah, you hold in your hands, and then
Yeah.
after a while, it goes like you feel your veins, like
Yeah, just like a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Probably is.
wow, that's really good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, Georgina. And amazing work on your first time on Zoom. Well done.
To be honest, it worked. Don't ask me how, and I don't know how to do it again.
Divine intervention. You're here. Thanks for your company and your question, Georgina. Thank you. If you can try and pop yourself back onto mute now, that would be amazing. Thank you, love.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, darling. Or I might be able to do that actually. Yeah, I can do that. There you go. Lovely. Nicola, hello.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
your-
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's very interesting as always to hear you speak.
Thanks. I
so
ramble on about
talk-
all sorts of stuff.
So I'm also a complete novice.
Yes.
So can you let us know anywhere where you recommend buying crystals from? Is there anywhere where you would suggest?
So obviously your local crystal shop when they're open, Angels in Norwich. There is also Little Gems in Chroma. I'm not sure. I know Little Gems are operating online. They're really good as well. Danny and Gail up there are really good as well. So if you've got any questions, you can ring them, you can email them. They're really super helpful. I'm not sure whether Angels are doing online at the moment or not, but Angels Crystal Shop Norwich. Also, the Psychic Tree I quite like. I find that the quality of their crystals is good, and their prices are also really good as well. There is also Beverly down at Stone Rose Crystals at Ston and Barnes. Now, I don't think she's got a website, but she has got a Facebook page. And she's really good as well. She's really super helpful. And again, I really kind of rate her quality and her, I just think she's really good. And another one which I love, which down in Suffolk near Bury, is the Crystal Path. Now, they don't have an online shop, but you're on Instagram, I know. Follow them on Instagram, and again, super helpful. I found most of those places are really helpful. So, and also, I know you, so if you want me to go, send you the links for those as well. And maybe that's something actually I might put in, if I send the information through to Jackie, maybe put those types of links in the email that we then send out with the recording link perhaps. And also I do have some crystals, some tumbled crystals and a couple of pendants for sale on my Facebook shop as well. So have a look on there. There may be something that takes your fancy.
Yeah, wonderful knowledge as always.
Thanks, love. Thank you very much for your question. Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to drop into the chat box, so bear with me. And also, let me just double check as well, because we've got a couple of screens of people. So let's go to the screen. Okay, so no one else has raised a hand there. All right, so I'm just going to go into the chat box, so bear with me. And let me just go through any questions from our chat. Okay, so Sharon, okay, so choosing crystals to use for an individual, as I say, very intuitive. So yeah, was that you, Sharon, that we spoke? Yeah, all right, we've done that one then. Awesome. Okay, reputable place to purchase crystals from? Yeah, just gone through that with Nicola. I think what we'll do is, I'll send links through to places that I myself find really useful and good sources, and maybe pop those links out into the follow-up email, I think. Does that sound like a good idea, Jackie? Yeah, lovely. Okay, so Roy, thank you very much. Okay, Paula, crystal books recommend for a complete beginner. Okay, so handy, I have here the Crystal User's Handbook by Judy Hall. Now, this is quite an old copy. I think there are newer copies of this now, but you generally can't go wrong with Judy Hall. She's kind of one of the most well-known people in the crystal healing world, so to speak. She does like these sorts of books, this Crystal User's Handbook, as well as the crystal Bibles as well. So currently there are actually 3 of these crystal Bibles that she's done, or like these little sizes. So they're done by Judy Hall as well, and they're all called the Crystal Bible, and there's version 1, 2 and 3, all with generally very different crystals in. And I also really like Hazel Raven as well. Now she's done, I haven't actually got down here any of her books, but she is I think anyway, a really good source. She's done quite a lot of different books. So that's Hazel Raven. Maybe actually if I'll pop her name in the chat box actually. Hazel Raven source for books. And I think, again, the chat box actually comes up when you get the link to the recording as well. Okay, so hopefully that answers the question with regards books. Yeah, Marion, how often clean, recharge? Yeah, I've gone over that pretty much when you feel necessary. But if you are working in a professional capacity, definitely after every usage with every person. Thank you for your message. Lovely talk. Thank you. Thank you, Doreen. Okay, so apologies, I don't know the name of the person that's come up through Sensational Families, but thank you. Recommend for jewellery. So again, Little Gems in Chroma do a massive range of jewellery. Really, really good. These two rings that I have, actually, this one and the rose quartz that I showed you, are actually from the Osy Cozy Gallery in Holt, and I really like their stuff as well. They are doing, I think, a limited range of jewellery online at the moment. But when we have got our freedom to move and travel again, I would really recommend going up there if you're local to Norfolk. The Psychic Tree as well that I mentioned before is a place to purchase crystals from. Again, their jewellery, I think, is really good. And also Happy Glastonbury in Glastonbury as well. For crystals, but also jewellery as well. So I'll actually pop those into the chat box as well. Happy Glastonbury and the Psychic Tree for crystals and jewellery. Okay, that's great. And I think you also asked something with dementia. Now, dementia is something that I haven't actually worked with. So off the top of my head, I wouldn't actually be able to advise you with regards to that. But what I will do is make a note. And if you would like to, you can send me a message in the chat box privately. If you would like to send me a way to contact you, I can then actually contact you with a recommendation with regards something for your mum. Okay. All right, so I've got another message. Let's just bear with. Let's go through. Okay. Infinity Jewellery Tunde, thank you. Oh, right, I'll make a note of that. Actually, I've not heard of them. Awesome.
She's actually a therapist.
Okay.
Oh my God, where is she from? I don't know. I have her details. But if you Facebook or you look her up, and she does have an Etsy shop as well.
Okay.
So she does do little thumb rings. She does
nice.
do anklets, bracelets. Obviously, she does do pendants. And I do have a little story about this pendant, because if I'm allowed to, you know.
Of course. Yeah. Are we okay? We're okay on time, Jackie? Yeah.
Basically, on Saturday morning, I was on Facebook, and this beautiful tourmaline necklace came up because I follow her, but it came up on a reflexology group because she does advertise there. And I said to myself, oh, let's have a look, because obviously I really love her page and everything. And I had a look, and I had a really strong feeling, because some people asked, how do you know which crystal you need to use? I had a really strong feeling. I never would go for this color. This is not my favorite color. It's a very, very bright blue, obviously.
Sure.
I don't like the color, but I had a really strong feeling with it. And I looked into it, and obviously this crystal is to do with the throat chakra.
Sure.
And I was going through, I said to myself, oh, I don't have the money, but maybe, you know, for Valentine's present. So I kept it in my mind. But I was looking through the other jewelry as well. And it was very impressive and interesting that everything what I was drawn to in that moment, it was to do with the throat.
Yeah.
So I said that was a sign that I needed to order this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she did say exactly the same, because I personally messaged her, and
Mhm.
obviously I ordered it on Saturday and it arrived today. So.
Amazing. Yeah, you know, it's like you were saying with regards food and you know, lots of other things. You know, you do know you have that innate ability, you know, within you to know what it is that you need. So trust it, and actually working with your intuition as well. As I say, it's something I've got this what's called Auralite 23 crystal, which I've used at my third eye center or eyebrow center. And this is very much associated with developing your intuition. I've been working with it for about a year or so, and I've really noticed the difference since working with it. And it was just a thing, you know. I can't even remember how I got linked into it. And I was like, oh wow, I've got to have that for whatever reason. And then started researching a bit more, and I was like, of course, you know. And I've been using it ever since, and it's amazing. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know. Thank you, Tunde. All right, so let's just go into back in the chat box. Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry, I don't know the actual name of the person that's popped a message into the chat box with regards their mum with dementia, recommending, yeah, obviously what they're drawn to, absolutely. So your mum loves rose quartz, amethyst,
Yeah.
clear quartz, lovely. Hello. Also, hello. I'm so sorry. What's your name?
It's Lynn.
Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, she always loved crystals before
Yeah.
she had dementia.
Yeah.
She's 87 now. She's had
Yeah.
it for 11 years.
Yeah.
I always still leave the crystals in the room around her, and she always had a beautiful pendant, rose quartz.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't let her wear that now, just in case, you know, she got it stuck around her neck or something. But she's very drawn to crystals, so I let her use what she wants.
Yeah.
What she wants to hold, what
Absolutely.
she's drawn to.
Yeah.
And the same as children as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
totally.
whatever they have, just
Yeah.
let them what they're drawn to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And children, adults alike. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you feel that you're drawn to, whatever you gravitate towards, totally, Lynn. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they feel really comfortable with that, just holding the crystals, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's it. That's what I say about anything kind of like the healing modalities that I do. If somebody, you know, whether you believe it works or it doesn't work, and I will never say that, you know, this definitely works.
Because it's different for everybody, isn't it?
Exactly. But
we've all got different energies ourselves.
Absolutely. But even if it is that you gain some time out or some relaxation, or yes, you gain comfort from something, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Lynn.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's great. Thank you. Okay. So, yes. Yeah, that's great, Sharon. Thanks for that. Yeah. So, thumb stones or palm stones. I don't actually think I've got any to hand, but they're like a flatter crystal, and they're kind of like, yeah, got like a delve for your thumb to go in. And yeah, that's a great idea, Sharon. Thanks for that. But yeah, they're really nice to hold, and that, yeah, they can be a real good comforter, actually, can't they, Sharon? Thank you. Yeah, cheers for that. Great. Okay, so there was somebody, Nadine, did you have a question? Nadine, awesome. Very good question. How do you know if they are ethically sourced? And can crystals be fake? So now, finding out the provenance of anything, let alone crystals, is a really big deal. And there is actually quite a lot to be said actually about us as humans actually mining and what some people would call plundering the earth to gain these crystals from the earth. And like any process, there can be ethical and unethical ways of mining, producing, labor, production process. So this is what, in all honesty, unless you actually go to the source yourself, you're never going to know, ultimately. I do choose quite carefully, I hope, who I buy from. And I try not to actually now buy that many more new items, in all fairness, to kind of try and limit like my crystal footprint, I suppose. So that's actually a really difficult one, to be sure of, in all honesty, Nadine. You can obviously do your research into the company. You can actually go to the company and ask them exactly who and where they source from, what mines. You can ask them what their ethical policies are, what their slavery policies are, all that sort of thing. And hopefully like with any service, any reputable provider will let you know that. So difficult one, and quite a it's kind of it's kind of a wrangle as well with me, since I've become much more aware around the ethics and the mining of crystals. It's certainly something that I've become much more conscious of like where I purchase from and how much I purchase as well. So it's a great question, Nadine, actually. And can crystals be fake? Yes, they can. So things such as turquoise, which is quite rare, that is often heat treated from howlite, from white howlite. It's actually heat treated to take on the color of turquoise. So it's one of those things whereby I guess like your experience then kind of comes into play to know whether it is actually turquoise or not, or an other crystal. Citrine is another one as well, which is often it's not it's a difficult one, not necessarily fake, but again, quartz is generally heat treated to produce like the yellow, goldeny orange of citrine. And it looks very different. I will try, actually, if you can bear with me. This is quite a good example. I've got a heat treated and a natural citrine to show you the difference. So if you just bear with me, and I'll see if I can actually quickly find that.
I can just say that basically I'm a therapist as well. And of course, that's the same with essential oils.
Absolutely.
If you find a cheap, I don't know, whatever, then there's 10 to 1. So it's reputable suppliers.
Yeah.
Obviously we tell students where to get them. And the aromatherapist knows where they wouldn't dream of getting them from, I don't know, Sally's or somewhere like that, or Boots even, because they can be watered down, not with water, but parts of the constituents.
Yeah.
Not getting a true thing, and it's the same with everything. It's buyer beware, isn't it? Really?
Absolutely, absolutely, Jackie. I'm also an aromatherapist, and again have been for 20 plus years. And there's only one or two suppliers that I will, go to because I really trust, their production process and again their ethics as well. And it's every industry, isn't it? Yeah. But just as an example with this like fake or not fake, so citrine can be heat treated from quartz, which is quite often, this is what you will see is sold as citrine. Okay. Quite a deepish yellowy orange at the tip. Yeah. So that's a heat treated crystal. And then I've got That's a natural citrine. So it looks very different, a lot paler, a lot more lemony. Yeah. And then I've got another example here, which is a slightly darker and a bit rougher piece of citrine as well. So again, you can hopefully you can kind of, I don't know whether that's better against like the white or not of myself, but quite a distinct difference there. Yeah, I have got I have got some turquoise, some what I believe is to be proper turquoise. I can't actually quite put my hand to that right at this moment. But yes, crystals can be fake. There is something called, I think, cherry quartz, which is like the name kind of suggests, cherry in colour. And that's not actually a crystal at all. That is just stone that's been treated. Crystals can also be dyed as well to represent other crystals. So again, turquoise is quite a common one where that happens, where other crystals such as howlite are actually dyed to be passed off as something else. And then things, I don't have any, but things you might have seen like slices of agate that are quite vivid pinks or greens or blues. So they're not fake because they are minerals, but they are dyed. So when you see something that's like really vivid pink, if basically, and a bit like the oils, Jackie, if something smells unnatural, it is. If something looks unnatural, it is. Yeah, pretty simple theory that I work on anyway. All right. I think I hope.
I think you have.
I've gone through everyone's
I think it's been a fantastic
comments in the chat box. So hopefully answered your questions, your queries there. Anyone want a last minute questions before we close, or comments or thoughts? Thanks, Cecilia.
I just want to say thank you. I don't know how to use the message box, but thank you very much from Northern Ireland.
Oh, well, thank you very much for joining us all the way from the Emerald Isle. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was very good. Thank you, Jackie.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
That's
oh, the other oh, sorry, Jackie. We've got Rachel has popped her hand up. Oh, you're just waving. Thank you, love.
Yeah. So that's really good. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I seriously was only potentially expecting a handful of people. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me and Jackie. It's been amazing.
It's been our most successful one. So thank you very much.
Most welcome. Okay, I'll just pop into so I Lynn just asked another question actually about essential oils. I mean, Jackie will be able to also advise, but I use my preferred supplier is
I can tell you good aromatherapy suppliers for sure.
Yeah, but my preferred supplier, just so you know, I prefer or my chosen supplier is Fragrant Earth in Glastonbury.
All right.
So that's who I like to use. I feel confident in their production process, supply chain, testing, etc. Thanks.
Good, lovely.